I killed my husband with a single word in a crowded courtroom. And no one saw the blood on my hands because it was all in his eyes, the dawning horror of a man who'd built his empire on stolen lives. Including mine. He'd whispered in my ear that morning, "You can't live without me, Chloe," as if I were still the fragile wife he'd gaslit into silence. But that was before the swap. Before I woke up staring at a stranger's face in the mirror and realized revenge wasn't a dream, it was the only skin that fit anymore. And when the judge unfolded that crumpled paper I'd slipped across the bench, my confession. His noose, he didn't just laugh, he roared. A sound that echoed like the crack of justice finally biting back in a system rigged for men like Mark. It started in the fluorescent hell of a Chicago suburb ER. The kind of place where dreams go to flatline under buzzing lights and the faint tang of bleach. I was 32, married 8 years to Mark Hargrove. The golden boy of Windy City real estate, 6'2". Ivy League charm. The guy who could sell ice to penguins and make them thank him. We had the McMansion in Oak Park, the Tesla in the garage, and weekends at the lake house where he'd grill ribeyes while I played the perfect hostess, laughing at his jokes about crazy exes who couldn't handle his ambition. But ambition's just a polite word for the kind of hunger that devours everything in its path, including the woman who shares your bed. I'd always known Mark had secrets. Late nights at the office bleeding into dawn. Texts he deleted like toxic waste. The way he'd flinch when I asked about his consultants. But I buried it deep. Told myself it was the stress of climbing the ladder at Hargrove Developments, his family's firm. We were the couple everyone envied, Chloe and Mark. The power duo who'd met at Northwestern. Bonded over craft IPAs and dreams of flipping distressed properties into luxury lofts. I handled the books, the quiet math that kept the cash flowing while he shook hands and sealed deals. It was my numbers that caught the discrepancy first, a cool $2 million siphoned into offshore accounts. Funneled through shell companies with names like Aurora Holdings. I confronted him one rain-slicked October evening. The leaves turning bloody red outside our bay window. "Mark, this isn't adding up." "Who's Aurora?" I said, sliding the ledger across the kitchen island, my voice steady as Lake Michigan in summer. He didn't even look up from his scotch. "Client confidentiality." "Babe, you worry too much." Then, softer, like I was a child, "Trust me, Chloe. You always do." But I didn't. Not anymore. I dug deeper. Late nights in our home office while he networked at steakhouses downtown. What I found wasn't just embezzlement. It was a web of betrayal that made my stomach twist like a knife in the gut. Aurora wasn't a client. She was her Aurora Voss, the firm's star attorney, 35. Blonde ambition wrapped in Louboutins and a law degree from Yale. Mark's texts to her were firestorms of pillow talk and pillow promises. "Can't wait to build our empire. Babe. Chloe's holding me back. Too vanilla. Too needy." And the kicker? Those missing millions weren't just vanishing. They were funding a black market biotech startup Aurora's family controlled. Something whispered about in the darkest corners of Chicago's venture capital scene. Project Echo. Neural mapping for identity relocation. Body swaps. For Christ's sake. Not the sci-fi crap. But real, uploading consciousness into donor vessels for the ultra-rich dodging death or justice. I pieced it together over weeks. My hands shaking as I printed emails. Forwarded to a burner drive. Mark was in deep. Promising Aurora the C-suite if she helped him reset his life. Ditch the wife. The firm's scandals. Start fresh in a new skin. They'd use me as the fall guy. Frame me for the fraud. Pin a fabricated overdose on top to make it look like guilt-driven suicide. Clean. Controversial as hell in a Me Too world. But who'd believe the mousy accountant over the golden couple? The night it all shattered, I waited in the dark of our bedroom, a glass of his favorite bourbon in hand, poisoned with enough fentanyl from an online research chem site to drop an elephant. Not to kill him, just to knock him out long enough to confront Aurora. But Mark came home early, reeking of her perfume, eyes wild from whatever deal he'd just inked. "Chloe, what's this?" He snatched the glass, downed it in one gulp like the cowboy he fancied himself. "You trying to play detective now? Cute." The fentanyl hit fast. He slumped against the doorframe, mumbling, "You can't." Without me, before his eyes rolled back. I dragged him to the car, heart pounding like a jackhammer. Drove straight to Aurora's Gold Coast penthouse, the address from her emails. She answered the door in a silk robe, martini in hand, surprise flickering to smugness when she saw Mark's limp form. "Chloe Hargrove." The little bookkeeper. "What's this? A threesome?" Her laugh was glass shards. I shoved past her, laid Mark on the leather sectional. "Tell him to call it off. The swap. The frame job. Or I go to the feds with everything." She circled me like a shark, heels clicking on marble. "Oh, honey." "It's already in motion. Project Echoes tomorrow. Mark's consciousness in a fresh body. Yours, fertilizer for the cause." She leaned in, breath hot with gin. "He's choosing me. Always has. You're just the baggage." Rage boiled over. I grabbed the marble coasters from her coffee table, smashed one across her temple. She crumpled, blood trickling, not dead, but out cold. Mark stirred, groaning, and in the chaos, I heard the elevator ding. Security? No, 2 men in black tactical gear. Aurora's family muscle. Echo operatives. They burst in, tasers humming. "Secure the assets," one barked. I fought nails, teeth, a lamp to the knee, but they were pros. The prick in my neck was swift, sedative flooding my veins. Last thing I saw, Aurora stirring, smiling through the haze. Mark's hand in hers as they loaded us into vans. "She can't live without him," she murmured to the medic. "Poor thing. Overdose on top of fraud? Tragic." Blackness swallowed me. But death? Nah. Echo wasn't about killing, it was rebirth for the elite. I woke strapped to a gurney in a sterile lab beneath a nondescript warehouse in Pilsen, the air humming with servers and the faint ozone of neural scanners. A doctor in scrubs, Dr. Elias Boss, Aurora's uncle, loomed over me, his face a mask of clinical boredom. Subject Chloe Hargrove. Mapping complete. Transfer initiating. Panic clawed my throat. "What the fuck is this? Let me go." "Insurance," he said, injecting something cold into my fore. Mark's deal, his mind into Aurora's enhanced vessel, youthful, unscarred. Aurora into a proxy. You, collateral. Your neural print overwrites a donor, low value. Expendable. Clean slate for the operation. The machine word to life. Electrodes biting my scalp. Pain exploded, fire in my synapses. Memories fracturing like glass under a boot. I saw flashes. My wedding day. Mark's vows forever. Chloe. The first time he hit me after a bad quarter, you made me do it. Then nothing. Just a void. Pulling me under. When I surfaced, it wasn't my body. I was in a mirror across the recovery room, petite frame, olive skin, dark curls framing sharp cheekbones. Not Chloe. Isabella Ruiz. Age 28. Undocumented cleaner from Aurora's penthouse. Donor snuffed for parts. My hands, her hands, trembled as I touched the unfamiliar curves. The tattoo of a rose on my wrist I'd never inked. But the eyes? Mine. Green. Furious. Alive with Chloe's rage. Dr. Voss entered, clipboard in hand. Transfer successful. Subject Ruiz's shell now hosts Hargrove Neural Overlay. Aurora and Mark in prep for Phase 2. I lunged, but the restraints held. You swap me? Into a fucking maid's corpse. Donor's alive.
Technically.
Brain dead from aneurysm. Efficient. He checked vitals. Oblivious to the storm in my chest.
Rest.
Integration takes time. Mark will collect you, his loyal wife reborn.
Mark.
They'd tell him the swap failed on me. That I was gone. But I was here. In this borrowed skin. With Chloe's mind plotting like a virus in the system. As Voss left, a guard unlocked the restraints for mobility tests. Rookie mistake. I waited till his back turned, snatched the scalpel from the tray, slit his throat in one fluid arc, clean, no spray, just a gurgle and slump. Controversial? Hell yes. But in America, the land of second chances for the guilty, why shouldn't I get one? I stripped his badge. His coat, too big, but it hid the blood. Alarms would blare soon. I slipped into the vents. Echo's blueprints burned into my memory from the emails. The lab was a maze of white corridors, humming with illicit promise, tanks of suspended bodies, screens flickering with uploaded souls. I found the server room, smashed drives with a fire extinguisher till sparks flew. Then the exit, Pilsen streets at dawn, graffiti-tagged walls, and the L rumbling overhead. Free, but hunted. Isabella Ruiz had no papers, no history. Chloe Hargrove was dead, suicide note planted, body cremated. First stop, a burner phone from a corner bodega. Calling my sister in Milwaukee. Lena, it's me. Don't ask how, just wire cash to this account. And watch the news. She sobbed. Thought I was a ghost. But ghosts don't need revenge. They need flesh. I holed up in a no-tell motel off Lakeshore Drive. The kind with hourly rates and roaches the size of quarters. Integration was hell. Phantom itches where Chloe's freckles should be. Dreams of Mark's hands on Aurora's skin. But I adapted. Dyed the curls blonde to echo my old self. Forged ID as Claire Ruiz, freelance accountant. The drive burned hot. Exposed Mark.
Burn Echo to the ground.
He'd frame me for fraud? I'd dismantle his world brick by embezzled brick. Weeks blurred into a grind. I tailed him from shadows, Mark strutting into boardrooms. Aurora on his arm. Her new body, a 20-something model type. Enhanced with my stolen neural tweaks for sharper focus. They thought they were gods. Hargrove developments booming. Echo trials greenlit for billionaires dodging cancer or indictments. But I was the glitch. Anonymous tips to the Sun-Times. Discrepancies in city contracts. Voss family ties to Black Ops. Whispers grew to headlines. Hargrove heirs mystery windfall. Coincidence or corruption? Mark noticed. Paranoia set in. Bodyguards shadowing his Bentley. Aurora's eyes darting at galas. I got close once. At a fundraiser for youth mental health. Irony thicker than the caviar. Slipped a waiter uniform. Poured his third scotch. Miss me? Honey, I murmured, brushing his ear. He froze, glass midway to lips. Chloe? No, fuck. You're dead. Am I? I smiled Isabella's smile. All teeth. Or did you just kill the wrong bitch? He spilled the drink. Called security. I vanished into the crowd, heart slamming. Close. But not enough. I needed proof, irrefutable. Courtroom kryptonite. That's when I hit the dark web. Trading Boss's badge for echo schematics from a hacker collective in Brooklyn. Blueprints. Trial logs. Voice recordings of Mark greenlighting my disposal. Gold. But using it meant surfacing. Risking recapture. The plan crystallized over stale motel coffee. Sue for divorce from the grave. File as Chloe Hargrove. Presumed alive. Demand assets in probate court. Force Mark to testify. Drag Aurora under oath. They'd lie, gaslight the judge with my instability, the overdose narrative. But I'd be there, in plain sight as witness Claire Ruiz, dropping the hammer. Controversial? Abso-fucking-lutely. A dead woman rising in stolen flesh. Accusing her husband of murder by science? The press would feast, Fox calling it woke hoax, CNN tech dystopia. Debates on identity. Ethics. Who owns a soul? But that's America. We love our monsters. As long as they perform. I filed from a cyber cafe in Wicker Park. Pro-SE, self-represented. No fancy lawyer to scare off. The clerk blinked at the resurrection claim, but stamped it. Summons served at the lake house. Mark's face when the process server handed it over? Priceless. From the PI photos. He lawyered up fast, top firm. The kind that buries truths under billable hours. Trial loomed in the Cook County Courthouse. A stone behemoth downtown. All Corinthian columns and echoes of Al Capone's ghosts. I prepped in dive bars. Memorizing depositions. Practicing Isabella's accent to blend. Soft Chicago South Side. Not my old North Shore clip. Lena smuggled me clothes. Pencil skirts. Blouses that screamed credible witness. You look different, sis, she said over encrypted video. Stronger. I lied. Inside. Terror gnawed. What if the swap glitched? What if Mark recognized the eyes? Opening day. The gallery buzzed. Reporters. Hargrove cronies. Curiosity seekers. Mark took the stand first. Silver-tongued as ever. In a bespoke suit that cost more than my old salary. Your Honor. Chloe was my world, he crooned, dabbing imaginary tears. Brilliant, but fragile. The pressure. It broke her. She couldn't live without me, said it herself in her note. The judge. Harlan Thorpe, a grizzled ex-prosecutor with a rep for no bullshit, leaned forward. Bushy brows arched. Mr. Hargrove. This court deals in facts. Not Lifetime movies. Proceed. Aurora followed. Poised in pearls. Swearing Chloe's dissent was textbook. Paranoia. Theft. Self-harm. She attacked me. Your Honor. I fear for Mark's safety.
Lies.
Polished to a sheen. My turn came after lunch, called as expert consultant on financial anomalies. I took the stand in a crisp navy suit, hands steady on the Bible. Claire Ruiz? Ma'am. Oops, sir. For Thorpe. State your observations. Emma. Ruiz. I laid it out cold. Ledgers. Transfers. Echo's shadow funding. Mark squirmed in the front row. Aurora's manicure digging into his thigh. And this suicide? Fabricated. Chloe Hargrove didn't die. She was erased. Gasps rippled. Thorpe rapped his gavel. Objection sustained. Speculation. Evidence. I slid the envelope across the paper. Not the drive. Too risky. A single sheet. Typed confession in Mark's hand, forged flawless from his emails. Detailing the swap. The frame. Aurora's complicity. Read it. Your Honor.
Aloud.
If you please. He unfolded it. Spectacles slipping down his nose. The gallery held breath as he scanned, lips moving silent. Then, Jesus Christ, a bark of laughter erupted, raw and booming, echoing off the oak panels. He slapped the bench, tears streaming. Mr. Hargrove, he wheezed, waving the paper like a flag. You said she couldn't live without you? Son. This says you couldn't live with her truth. Bailiff, cuff these two. Fraud. Conspiracy.
And.
Hell. Attempted soul theft? We'll sort the charges. Chaos exploded, flashes popping. Mark lunging with a roar. She's not Chloe. But Aurora yanked him back. Her enhanced eyes wide with the math she'd ignored. The glitch. The donor's echo in my voice. I stepped down. Free. The weight lifting like fog off the lake. But as they dragged him away, Mark twisted, locking eyes with mine, Chloe's eyes in Isabella's face. You bitch, he spat. What are you? Your end, I whispered. Close enough for only him. And her beginning. The twist hit like a freight train that night. Post-verdict. In a safe house courtesy of Lena's lawyer friend. I'd won. Assets frozen. Echo raided by feds. Mark and Aurora facing life in Supermax. A happy ending? For Chloe Hargrove. Yeah, vindication. A new life in the skin. Maybe even a quiet farm upstate where the wind doesn't whisper secrets. But Isabella Ruiz? The real her. Brain-dead donor whose body I'd hijacked? Her family called the tip line undocumented. Vanished after a Voss cleaning gig. Cops connected dots. The lab break-in. The slit throat. Claire Ruiz was wanted for murder now. Echo's collateral spun into my noose. I stared at the burner screen. Warrant glowing. Run? Fight? The mirror showed a woman neither Chloe nor Isabella, something forged in betrayal's fire. Controversial as hell. America loves a comeback. But does it forgive the monster who claws her way back? In the end, I chose the road. Thumb out on I-90. Curls whipping in the wind. Heading west where borders blur. Mark's last words echoed. What are you? Alive. Baby. That's what. And maybe, just maybe, that's revenge enough.